This conference will now be recorded.
So I still am still getting messages that people are trying to join. Last 1 minute, we'll wait. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to you all. Is my screen visible to you all? You can unmute and talk, or you can even reply to me in the chat box.
You are audible.
Okay, cool. So we start. Okay, we'll start now. So today we will try to discuss in this program. We will try to discuss basic introduction about C programming. Why do we need to learn and all? But I think most of you would already know that why we need to learn and all. And then we will start learning about data types in C language, and then how to accept inputs and print outputs, then operators, then control statements, and then we will try to discuss more in detail about data types again. Okay, again it comes under, again, if I have to talk, it will be arrays, structures, unions, and so on. This data types again comes down also again. Okay, in detail we will discuss again. Fine. So is this? One second. Okay, just a second. So I'll rename this one as basic data types, okay? And then we will discuss more in detail about data types, and we will try to solve some problems, okay? I mean problems in the sense we will try to do some programs, okay? This is all we will do. So first thing, what do you know? Can you just tell me what do you know about C language? Whatever you know till now, whatever you have heard, or whatever you know, everyone. Can you just tell me whatever you have heard about C language till now? You can use the chat box, or you can, yeah, better try to use the chat box. That will be more useful, more simple, and try to use. Are you able to reply to me in the chat box? I guess everyone is able to use the chat box, right? If you are not comfortable using this GoToWebinar chat, you can simply text me on WhatsApp also in the group. That is also fine. A few people haven't joined with audio. I don't know whether I am audible to everyone or not. Dilip and Swayam Kumar, am I audible to you? Both of you? Okay, Krishna says C is a platform dependent language. Super cool. Anyone else? Any other things which would you like to add? Whatever you know about C language, you can add it. Anything you know about. That's all. No one else would like to add anything? Okay. So C is one of the basic programming language. Okay. So that is like okay. C language deals with compiler. Krishna, super. Basic programming language. Super, Sandeep. Yeah, one of the basic programming languages. And okay, now tell me, can you one small thing? Do you know the reason why C is named as C? Named as C only? Why not any other name? Super Adesha. It is discovered by Dennis Ritchie. Super. Perfect. And my question is, why C is named as only C? Why not any other alphabet? See, generally we have a habit, right? For example, here the person who discovered C language is Dennis Ritchie, right? Why he didn't name it as Dennis or D language or R language or something like that? Why only C? Any idea? Or any guess? Okay, because of compiler maybe. Okay, Charan, we'll see. Others, any guess? Anyone else? Can you guess anything? Okay, cool. No problem. That's fine. So it is not because of compiler or C doesn't, there is no meaning for C actually. There is no specific meaning given for the letter C. It simply follows alphabetical order. They simply followed alphabetical order. Then what alphabetical order you should know it. Okay. They followed alphabetical order. What is this alphabetical order is nothing but before C language we had some other programming languages. Okay, before C language we had some other programming languages. They were like basic, COBOL, Fortran and all those things, but the major thing was ALGOL, algorithmic language, and then B language, one more language called BCPL, and then we also had B language. Okay, these were the major three programming languages. So this is stands for A, right? Algol means algorithmic language. Okay, algorithmic language, and then we BCPL means basic combined programming language. Basic combined programming language. Then we had another language called just B language. Okay, after this they came up with a new language called C language. Okay, there were some disadvantages in the previous programming languages, whether it may be ALGOL or whether it may be BCPL or B. There were some, they were not able to do everything what they would like to do. Then they created a new language called C language, in which they added a lot of things which they were not able to do in the B language or BCPL language. Okay, no need to know more in detail, but yeah, this is the basic information. That's more than enough. Okay, remember that C doesn't mean compiler or C doesn't mean computer or anything like that. C simply means it's just an alphabetical order. Okay, okay. It was created by Dennis Ritchie. That is absolutely fine. There are a lot of other information which we may go through later, but yeah, let us just quickly. That's the basic intro which you need to know. We will try to quickly jump into data types, basic data types. Okay. Firstly, I would like to let you know how many data types are there. Any idea? Anyone knows how many types of data types? Data types in C. How many types of data types do we have? Any guess? Can you respond quickly? What all the data types do we have in C language? Not, you don't need to tell me the types, you just tell me how many were there. Any guess at least? Whether it is right or wrong, no problem, you can just guess. Okay, two types, fine. What about others? Remaining people, what do you say? Two types only, or do you agree with Adya or anyone else would like to add anything else or anything? Two only. Okay, Vishnu. Two types. Fine. Remaining people, anyone else? Charan and we have many other people. Bibu, Sunil, Suraj, Amit. Anyone else? Three types. Okay. Charan says three types. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's great. So actually, yes, we have three types. Okay. We have three types of data types. What are they? Three types of data types in C language. Okay. They are first one, primitive or basic data types. Primitive or basic data types we call it as. Second one is derived data types. And third one is user defined data types. Okay, these are the three basic data types. Primitive, or we call it as fundamental. Few people call it as basic data types. There are many other names given, so you can ignore that. But yeah, remember primitive or fundamental data types, and then derived data types, and then user defined data type. Okay, please make a note of these things. Anyways, I'll share this document with you also, but if you are comfortable in noting down, please make a note of it. Okay, so now let us just get into first thing, which is nothing but primitive data types. Okay, primitive data types. In primitive data types, again we have subtypes. What are they? Which is nothing but int, which you have come across many times, I think, right? Next, float. Next, char, double. All these things comes under this group. Okay, you might have heard all these things, right? Previously, int, char, double, float. Okay, now these are the types in primitive data types. Now if I have to tell you about user defined derived data types in derived data types, let us see that. In derived data types, we have again, any idea? Can anyone guess? People, you can even unmute and talk if you are not comfortable in typing, and if it is taking a lot of time, you can simply unmute and talk. That is also fine. Any guess in what are derived data types? Yeah.
User defined and computer defined, predefined.
User defined, and okay, you can call it as predefined. No, this you are telling types of data types. This one we call it as predefined data types. Primitive or predefined or fundamental, all these names comes under the same, or predefined. Okay, you can, there are many names for the first data type, and then derived data types, and then user defined data types. Okay, printf, scanf are
Okay.
not data types here. Those are functions, Suraj. Okay, those are inbuilt functions. Anyone else? What are derived data types? Very simple. Arrays. This comes under derived data types. Arrays. Next, anything else?
Pointers.
Okay, pointers can also be considered.
Structure.
Next,
Structures,
exactly.
sir.
Structure. Super. Structures. Next, union. Okay, these things comes under derived data types. Okay. Clear? So these things comes under derived data types. And what is the third one? User defined data types. So in user defined data types, we have few things again defined. In user defined, we have type def, something called type def, and next one is enum. Okay, enum. These are the two things which we have in user defined data types. Okay, these are the types of data types in total we have: primitive, derived, and user defined. In primitive, int, float, char, double, and again we have few more things here. Again, I'll come to that. But yeah, these are the basic things which we need to know. And then in derived, arrays, structures, unions, pointers. And then in user defined, we can say type def and enum. Okay, so now let us just try to start writing one small program and try to understand how to write these things. Okay, let us just do that and try to write a small program. So see here, and I'll be using online GDB compiler, and I'll copy paste each and every program in the Google document, and you can also do the same. But right now, I don't think you need to code anything. You can just simply listen. So first thing, in C programming, we have a structure which need to be followed. Okay, we have a structure of a programming language. I'll show you that. If I guess I have it here. I'll show you the structure once. Just see that. C programming is called as structure oriented programming languages. Okay, it follows a basic structure. There is a one predefined structure. It will always follow that. Okay, see here. One second, I'll directly show you. Yeah, this is the structure we have. First thing, if you can see on the screen, we have something called as documentation. What is this documentation is nothing but we can write some comments about the program. For example, you are writing a program for printing hello world. So see here, I'll write like this. I'll write like / hello world program. Okay, so you are just describing about the program. These are called as comments. Okay, these are called as comments. So in C programming, you can write comments by using /, or if you want to write multiple lines comments, you can use /* some comments. Hi. Okay, one second. Hi. See, for example, I am writing multiple line comments. Okay. In this case, if you want to end the comment, you should end with //. Okay, you're starting with // and you can end with //. These are called as comments. What is the use of these comments is nothing but whenever you want to describe something about the program or some information which you would like to give to the person who is going to see the program, you will write this. Okay, these are not executable. These things will be ignored by the compiler. When you compile the program, this won't get executed. This will be ignored. Okay, because that is just a small simple information. Next, we have something called as link, which is called as pre-processing commands or pre-processing directives. What is that is nothing but whenever you are writing a C program, you will be using some inbuilt methods, sorry, inbuilt functions. In order to execute that inbuilt functions, you have to link your program with the pre-processing directives. I mean, link your program with the header files which are existing. We will write some statement like this: #include stdio.h in C programming. What is this is nothing but you are telling you are including a header file called standard library, standard input output header file. Now, this is stdio means standard input output. Okay, standard input output header file. Okay, output header file. But you might get a doubt, sir, what does this include mean? What is this hash mean? And what is this angular basis means, right? Just to explain you that, I'll okay, I hope, yeah, I hope now I'll be audible. Yeah. So stdio means standard input output. Now, why do we need this to use this include is nothing but it's a directory, it's a folder name. If you have installed any C compiler in your in your laptops, you will be able to see that directory. I'll try to show you that if possible. Not able to get it. One second. Mobile common files. we will have if you have installed any C programming platform, you will be able to see that platform here, like dev C or anything like that. If you have installed in your laptop, just check that. Dev tools protocols, I have a lot of device information but not dev C. Just let's see the dev C folder. You will find a folder of called dev C. In that you will be able to see that. Not able to find it now. Somewhere we'll have. I have Java C D. There is no dev C.
Those who don't have the laptop.
If you don't have laptops, I don't think you can see that now. That's okay. Okay, even I am not able to find where it is. Somewhere it will be there. I'll show you after some time. Okay, don't worry. In that you will have a folder called. There will be a folder in dev C folder. In the dev C folder, there will be a folder called include. Then the folder name will be include. In that there will be header files stored. That's why you will mention include here. Okay. General meaning of include is nothing but to include something. But actually, why do we use include word is nothing but when you install the package, when you install some platform in your laptop, you will get that folder called this one. What is that? Include folder. Because of that include folder, you are getting the files from that include folder. That's why you are telling hash include. Okay, hash means nothing but it is an indication of that the statement is a preprocessor directive. Hash indicates that the statement is preprocessor directive. Include means you are telling that include, there is a folder called include. In that there is a file called stdio.h. And what is this Angular braces is nothing but this is for predefined header files. To mention that the header file is a predefined header file, you will use Angular this braces, this kind of symbols. Sometimes you might have seen we'll be using these double quotes also. These are for user created header files. If you want to include user created header files, you'll be using double quotes, but we'll be using very rarely. But if it's inbuilt one, you'll be using this braces. Okay, remember that. Now next thing, that is the second part. What is the second one? Linking or pre-processing directive. Next one is global declaration. So sometimes you will be using some variables in which they are used all through the program. Those you will declare it here. I'll explain this once again later, but remember, if you declare outside just right after the hash include stdio.h statement, this is called as global declaration. What is the specialty of this and all? I'll explain once again. Just remember that. Okay, then the next part is main function. Okay, next one is main function. This is called the actual start of the program. We will write something called as int main, something like this. Okay, so whatever you write with the main is the name of the function, and this braces indicates that it's a function. Wherever you write these braces, it is called as a function in C programming. Okay, now see here, int is nothing but data type. We already know that int is a data type, right? We just discussed the types of data types. In that, int is one of the data type. Why do we need to write int here? I'll explain once again, but remember this, it's a function. So you are starting the block of the function here and ending it here. Okay, now in this function you will write some things. What are that? Declaration, executable part we will write. So declaration means if you want to use any variables, you will write that, like int num or num is equals to 10, something like that. You want to initialize variables, you can do that here. And then you can write some executable code like printing statements or anything. Okay, for example, I'll write some printing statement called hello world. Okay, this is some small printing statement. Now after that you can write a subprogram, or there is something called which you need to write, which is nothing but return 0. Whenever you use int main, we should write return 0. Why? I'll tell you. Listen that once again. I'll tell you that. But remember, this is declarations. This is some executable code, and this is the return statement. Okay, these things are done. This executable part, declaration, and main function is done. The last thing is subprogram. Subprogram is nothing but if you want to write any other functions which you need to call. For example, sometimes you'll instead of printing it here, you can create another function for that, like this. For example, you will create like void print. I'll discuss once again in detail all these things, but don't worry, just to explain. And then you will call that function called print here. You'll write something like this. You are calling a function called print, and this is the statement which will get executed. This is called as subprogram. If you write something like this, then it is called as subprogram. Okay. Don't worry. Once again, I'll explain what is function, how to call function and all, but just to understand. Okay. Clear everyone? The basic structure of a C program. This is a basic structure of a C program. Just a basic information. Is this clear everyone? If it's clear, can you say yes in the chat box quickly? Voice is not audible. Charan, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it was long back. Okay, cool. Is it clear everyone? The basic structure of a C program?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Anyone any doubts till now? Cool. Super Krishna, Amit, Suraj. Super. Thank you for the response. Okay, cool. Now let us see. Let us try to understand a bit more information about this, the same program which we have written. Okay. Now see here. Okay. Wait, where was our document? Okay, 1 second. Let me take it to a new. Okay, cool. So we just have discussed about basic introduction. I have told about the data types, but not in detail, just an introduction. Now we'll try to see input outputs. After that, we'll try to work a little bit more on the data types again. Okay. First, let us try to work on output. So for suppose I want to print something. Okay. Let us ignore this. I want to print a statement called hello world. So for that, what you are doing is nothing but you'll write this basic structure of program where you don't need any variables or anything to store. You can remove this global declaration also. It is not mandatory. Whatever writing, see that I'm just writing a simple small information like hashing to destination.h, which is mandatory for every program you write in C programming, because that is for if you want to perform any input output, you need that. Okay, standard input output header file. That's why for any input output you want to do, you need that for sure. Next thing is return 0, where as we are writing integer, I am telling that we should write return 0. Why? I'll tell you again, don't worry. Just here. What am I writing? I am writing something called printf, not print. I should write it as printf hello world. See here. What is this? Is nothing but printf is a function which is an inbuilt function in this header file called stdio.h. Okay, inbuilt function. What does it do is nothing but it will create. It will simply print whatever you write inside that statements. In printf, whatever you write in double quotes, that will get printed. That's it. See here, I'll run the program. You can see the output called simply it gets printed as hello world. Just a second, I think it's slow. Yeah. See here, hello world. Got it? So whatever you write in this double quotes gets printed. For example, instead of writing hello world, I'll write my name, Maram Shiva Prasad. Okay. So it will, when I run this program, it will simply gets printed. See that? Maram Shiva Prasad. Or you would like to write something like my name is Maram Shiva Prasad, anything like that, anything you can write. If you want to write print some statement, you can print it. Okay. For example, I'll write hi all. It will print. Okay. This is just printing about a statement. Okay. For example, I want to store some number and print it. How can we do that? For example, I want to print a number. Can I write like this? Is it possible? Let us check. I want to print 10. Can I print like this directly? Let us see. I'll try to run it and see. Is it printing? No. See that it is giving some warning for us. Warning format, not string literal, no format arguments. So it is giving some warning. Okay. Now, for suppose if you want to print in double quotes, it will get printed. See that? If you write the same thing in double quotes, it will get printed. Understood? Why is it so? Because in printf by default we can print a string. By default we can print only a string. But if you want to print other data types, we need to know something else for that. What is that? Is nothing but, for example, I mean, if you want to print an integer value or if you want to print a character value, we need to do something else. What is that? Is nothing but we should inform the compiler what data type you are going to print. Okay. For that, we will be using something called as format specifier. For example, for integer, we have a format specifier called %d. Now see here, I'm writing in double quotes, I'm writing %d but comma 10 I am writing. What does it mean is nothing but printf an integer, that integer is 10, like that you are telling. Okay, see that now 10 is printed without any warning. Got it? Very simple. If you want to print a string, you don't need to do anything, but if you want to print other data types, you have to mention to the compiler what data type you are going to give. That is how printf is defined. So if you want to print strings, if you want to print a simple sentence, nothing to do, but other data types you have to do. Okay, now 10, it's fine. What about if I want to print 10.5? What is the format specifier I need to use? Any guess? Anyone? What is the format specifier we need to use? If I want to
Float,
print
sir.
10.5, float, exactly. I can use something called as percentile f. Super Sandeep, super. Yeah, see here. I think network is a bit slow. One second, guys. Okay, once again I'll run it. Okay, see that now what got printed? 10.5000000, something like that. It is getting printed, right? It is printing 6 decimal places. If you can count them, it is printing 6 decimal places. By default, it will print a float will be printed as 6 decimal places in C programming. For example, if you want to modify it to two decimal places or something like that, you can write it here dot 2f percentile dot 2f. See that now it will print only 2 decimal places. If you want to print 3 decimal places, you can write percentile dot 3f. Okay, this is like this. And now for the same, for suppose if you want to print a character, how can you print that? I'll print some character called C. But in C programming, like for example, I want to print capital C. Is it possible to write this? Will it execute? If I simply write percentile C and the value is simply C. Is it working? No. It is telling that C undeclared, right? C undeclared. What does it mean? It means that it is taking that C as a value. It is not taking it as a value. It is taking it as a variable. What is variable? A place where some value is stored. But C is not a place where some value is stored, right? It is just a value itself. So why? Because in C programming, character is not directly defined like this. Character you have to write it in single quotes. Then only it will be considered as a character. If you want to make sure that it is a character, you should mention it in single quotes. Now see, it got printed. Okay. If you want to print an integer, percentile D. If you want to print a float, percentile F. If you want to print a character, percentile C. Okay. And there are few other format specifiers and few other data types. Don't worry, we'll see that again. Okay. But now see here, I'm directly printing it here. What if I want to store this and then print it? For example, I want to store some variable called int num. Okay. Int num is equals to 10. Fine. And I want to print that num, which is an integer. See that percentile D, because I want to print an integer, I have to write percentile D. Num int is a data type, num is a variable, and 10 is the value which is stored in a variable called num. And I want to print that. Print of percentile D comma num. Just running it, see that. 10 got printed. So like this, you can print anything. I can take another variable called float num1 is equals to 10.5, and you can print num1. But I need a format specifier called percentile f, right? I'll copy this and write percentile f. 1 second. See that I'll make it percentile f, and which is num1. And then I'll take one more variable called char ch is equal to some character C, and then I'll try to print that. Format specifier is percentile C, and then the variable name is ch. That's it, right? Now I'm printing all the 3 variables. Perfect. It is not getting printed in different lines. It is everything is clumsy, right? Here 10 is printed, 10.5000 is printed, and C is printed. Now for suppose you want to print everything in a new line. For that, what you will use, how do we do is nothing but we have something called as escape sequence. Okay. First thing we didn't mention it here. We have discussed one thing called format specifiers, right? Format specifiers. Okay. In that format specifier, we have %d for integer and %f for float and %c for character. Okay, this is what we have seen. And then if you want to format these outputs properly, we will be using something called as escape sequence. Escape sequences. Okay, escape sequence. What is an escape sequence? Let me show you. See here. For suppose you want to print everything in new line, you can use something called as \n. Whatever starts with backslash is called as escape sequence in C programming. Okay, here also I'm writing \n. What does it mean? Printf %d number and then printf \n %f. What is \n mean? Nothing but a new line. Just see that, you'll understand. See here, 10, after printing 10, you are telling that print a new line and then print the floating value %f, which is num1. After that, print a new line again and then print a character ch. See that is what got printed. First 10 got printed and then entered a new line, 10.500 floating value, and then entered a new line and then c got printed. This is an escape sequence. Like this, there are many other escape sequences, not only \n. For suppose you want to print with a tab space, we can use something called as \t. I'm running it again, just see that. See, with some space it is getting printed, right? Is it clear? Escape sequences, \n, \t. We have many like that, but yeah, these two are more than enough. Most commonly used \n, comma, \n for new line, \t for tab space. We have few more things like \b, \r, many things like that. But yeah, I request you to try this \b, \r. What are the uses of \b and \r? I request you to try after the session and let me know in the next class. Okay, is it fine? Will you try, everyone? Please try. What is the use of \b and what is the use of \r in your compilers? Try to print something and just check it, how and what is happening with that things. Okay. Okay. See here. Now we understood how to store the values and how to print them, right? But if you see one thing, I'm writing something called as num here, num1 here, ch here. What are these things? What are all these things? What is num? What is num1? What is ch? What are all these things called as? Come on, can anyone tell me?
Variables, sir.
Yes, exactly. Variables. Those are nothing but variables or variable names, right? So I have simply gone. I have given like num1, ch, all these things. Like, can you name anything? Can you give any name like that? For example, can I write instead of num? Can I write my name Shiva? Is it possible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, possible. But while writing these things, we need to follow some rules. For example, can I write Shiva space 1? Is it possible? Can we write Shiva space 1 as the variable name?
No, sir.
No, right? Yes, it
No,
is
sir.
not possible. Why? Because we need to know there are some rules to give variable names. There are some rules to be followed. Okay, rules to be followed for variable naming variables. What are they? Can you guess? First thing, just now we have seen, if I give a space, it is not working, right? No spaces allowed in variable names, right? We cannot give anything with a space. See, for suppose if I want to give c space h, is it works? No, it won't work. See that? It will give error. See, it will give you error. It will take c and h as two different variable names and it will give. So spaces are not allowed. Okay, spaces are not allowed, but number is allowed, right? Num1, Shiva 1, ch1. Are these things allowed? Yes, they are allowed. Okay. Don't want to run it because, okay, I'll comment this and run it because I am printing different names. It will give error. Okay. Now see, it will not give any error. See, perfect. No error, no output. Because I am not printing anything. See, numbers are allowed, but are they allowed anywhere? Can I write in between? Can I write at the beginning? Let us try. For example, I will take one variable called int num1 num. Is it possible to do? Can I write like this? 1 num. Let us run it and check. See, what is it? Invalid suffix on integer constant. So what does it mean? You can use numbers, but not at the beginning. Okay, can I use it in between? I will write n1 num um. Is it allowed? Allowed. Right? So what does it mean? Numbers are allowed, but not at the beginning of the variable name. Numbers are allowed in the variable names, but not at the beginning. Numbers are allowed, but not at beginning. Got it? But not at beginning. Next thing. Okay, spaces are not allowed. Can I write any other character like num, @num, or something like that? Is it allowed? Any guess?
No,
What do
sir.
you say? Not allowed? Okay, let us try once. Our friend says not allowed, but let us try it. Okay, super Krishna. You are telling that underscore is allowed. Yes. See, @ is nothing but it's not allowed. It is giving error. But if I mention underscore, is it allowed? Let us try. I will mention underscore at the beginning. Underscore num. Is it allowed? Yes, allowed. But there are few things which are not okay. You can try it in between. You can try it at end also. I'll give for ch1 at the end, for num at bit in between. See that? Is it allowed? Yes, allowed. Underscore is allowed everywhere. Okay. Special character underscore is allowed anywhere. Right? But there is one small thing here which we need to know is nothing but there is a topic called macros. Okay, there is a small topic called as macros in C language. Okay, I haven't mentioned that. I'll discuss that, don't worry. But yeah, in macros we have some predefined macros like this: underscored, double underscore, date, something like this. Okay, we have some statements like this which will give the current date, today's date, which will simply print today's date. I'll show you that with example later again, but remember, this is a predefined macro which will print today's date. Or something like this, we have something like file underscore file. This will print what is the current file name. Like this, we have some predefined things in C language which starts with an underscore. So in order to make the difference between these predefined things and variable names, we don't use underscore at the beginning of the variable names. It doesn't give any error, but it is not suggestible to be used. Okay, understood what I mean? We can use it, no problem, but if you use it, you might get confused with the macros, so we will not try to use them. That's it. It is just habit that we don't use them, but if you use also, no problem. So underscore can be used in between and at the end, but not at the beginning, because they will you might get confused with the predefined macros at some stage. So we will try to avoid underscore at the beginning in variable names, but you can use it, no problem. Okay, we will just simply practice, or it's a good practice not to use. Next thing, any other characters are allowed other than underscore? Any guess? Other than underscore, can we write anything else? Like for example, can I write hash like this? Hash num, is it possible? No, not allowed. Any other character, is it allowed in the keyboard, whatever you see? Any guess? Okay, let me show you. In C language, we are allowed to use dollar. Okay, specific to C language, it works. Okay, other than underscore, dollar also works only in C language. In C language, we don't have anything predefined for dollar, so dollar is also allowed. Okay, in C language, we don't have any special meaning for dollar symbol, so that is why it is allowed. Okay, remember that. But again, dollar means which is used to represent some money, right? A financial amount. So we will not try to use it in our programming, but if you use it also, no problem. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Other than this, we don't have anything else. Okay, now alphabets. I am writing small letters only. Can I write capital letters? Is it allowed? Can I write like this? Capital N, capital U, capital M? Yes, it's absolutely allowed. You can use capital letters. See that? Executed successfully. You can write combination also. Okay. Perfectly executed. So alphabets, both capital letters and small letters are allowed. But for example, I'll show you one thing. Both capital and small letters are allowed. Okay. Now one small thing. For suppose I am writing something like this. Okay, let me remove all this. I'll write int num is equals to 10, and then I'll write int capital NUM is equals to 20. Are these two variable names same? They num only, but there is a difference in capital letter. Now, what will be the value printed if I print num small num, and what will it be printed if I print capital NUM? Will it be same or different values as I stored different values? What do you
Different,
think?
sir.
Different values. Why? Because yeah, C programming is case sensitive. If you are writing capital letters or small letters, there is a difference between them for sure. So small num is 10 and capital N small um, the variable name. These two are two different variable names. In English they mean same, but in C programming they don't mean same. They are two different names. Okay, this is a different memory, this is a different variable, and this is a different variable. So that's why you are getting same values. For example, if you write same name, see that, for example, I am writing same name, what will happen? It will give an error because small num is already predefined. You already defined it once, you cannot redefine it again. Okay, understood that? You cannot redefine the same variable again, but you can use it again. You can modify the value. For example, num is equals to 20. Instead of writing int num is equal to 20, you are writing simply num is equal to 20. See that 2020 got printed. What does it mean? Num value is initially 10 and it got updated as 20. Okay, for suppose you want to print 10 and 20, in that case what you have to do? You have to print this before modifying. What am I doing? First I am taking num as 10 and I'll print that. Okay, I'm printing that number, and then I'm modifying num as 20 and then again printing it. Now see what will go. Now can you guess what is the output? For this printing statement it will be 10, and for this printing statement it will be 20. See that 10 20 got printed. First one is 10, second one is 20. Okay, this is called as initializing the value. This is called as declaration of the variable. This is declaration of a variable along with its value, and this is initialization or modifying value. Okay, initialization. Clear? Any doubts anyone till here? Names, variable names, rules for variable names. Is it clear everyone?
Sir,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
sir,
Hmm?
in last program you have done 2020, no? So how it came, sir? I didn't understood that.
Okay, one second, I'll show you. Let me go back quickly. So how we got 2020? That's what you are telling, right? This one. See here, I am writing
Yes, sir.
int num is equals to 10 and num is equals to 20. I'm printing num. I'm just printing the value of num, right? See here what is happening? You are storing int num is equals to 10. That means what happens? One second. So there is a variable called num. One second. There is a variable called num. For that there will be a memory allocated. In that memory what we are storing? We are storing 10. So 10 will be stored in that memory. Okay, here 10 is stored, and this variable, this memory's name is 10. This is what happens when you declare a variable. Now what we are telling? We are telling num is equals to 20. What does it mean? The same variable name, we are modifying the value as 20, so it will go to the same memory location. What will happen? This value will get erased. Whatever the value we have here will get erased, and then it will store 20 there. Okay, it will store 20 there. After that what you are doing? See that you are printing printf %d num. What is the value which is stored in num? 20, right? So it gets printed 20. And for this num also, what is the value? It's the same memory location. What is that? 20. That's why we get 2020 as the output. Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, num is a variable name. That is nothing but variable name means it's a name given for the memory location. In that memory, you stored 10 first. Later, you modified it as 20, and you are accessing the same memory twice, so it is printing 2020. That's it. Okay. Anyone else? Any other doubts? Boys and girls, any other doubts? Anyone else? Let me know. Clear? Okay. Cool. So now, till now, what we have done is nothing but I have declared one variable called int num, and I have predefined that as num is equals to 10, and then I printed that, right? Simply. Okay. Just simply I have stored it and printed. There is nothing special in it, right? But what if I want to modify the value of 10 whenever I want? Okay. I want to accept, I want to run the program. You should give me an input, then I should print that. In that case, how do I print it? For that, we need to accept the value from the user. That is nothing inputs. How do okay, sorry for that. It was because power cut. Okay, sir, it's not. Abhiram, tell me, Abhiram, what you are telling. What is it not? I didn't get you. Yeah, now it's audible. Okay, okay, fine. Now it was just power loss, Abhiram. That's now I hope it's audible. Okay. Now what I was talking about is nothing but you want to accept the input from the user and then print it. For example, user will give 10, you have to print 10. User will give 20, you should print 20. For that, we need to work on inputs. For that, we need to use a function called scanf. We have an inbuilt function called scanf for accepting the inputs in C language. And here also we need to mention the format specifier. What does it mean? You are just indicating the compiler what data type you are going to accept. And then you have to give where you want to store it. I want to store in the address called num. Okay, address of, and this symbol means address. There are multiple meanings for it, but inside scanf, if you use it, it means address of. You are telling accept an integer and store in the address called num, and then print that value. See that? Now I'll run it. See, now the compiler is not doing anything. It means it is simply waiting for my input. I'll give some input called 10, then it is printing 10. See, okay, it is not so interactive. So you can write something like this. You can write printf enter a number, something like this. Enter a number. Okay, like this you can print something. Then the compiler will wait for the input. See that? Semicolon missing, right? Okay, semicolon. See, enter a number and the compiler is waiting. It is not giving anything, right? Just it is waiting. Now I'll enter some input called 10. It will print 10. Got it? Or you can format this. You can simply write the entered, you have entered, something like this. You have entered what? 10. Okay, like this. I'm writing some statement along with that. See here. Now enter a number 10. It is printing. You have entered 10. Got it? You can write something like this. You can accept an integer and print it. Like this, you can accept a float value also. How do we accept float value? First, for that, you need a float variable, right? I'll write float f1. Okay. And then I'll write scanf. Okay. Can you tell me what is the format specifier I need to use for float? What should I write here?
Percentage F.
Scanf percentile f, comma. What should I write here after that? Where should I store that? The address of the float value.
F1.
Yes, exactly. Ampersand F1, address of F1 semicolon. And then for suppose if I want to print it, you have, I'll write integer here to differentiate. Then I'll print a floating value also. I'll copy this and I'll print it. You have entered float value, integer value percentile d, and then I'll mention float value. What should I write here? Here also percentile f. And what is the variable name? F1. Okay, see here. So what am I doing? I am accepting one integer and one float value and then printing it. Enter a number, enter an integer number. I'll accept integer number. Then after accepting, I'll write enter a floating number. Enter a float number. Float number. Okay, I'll run it. Just see that. So what is asking? It is asking enter an integer number. Then I'll enter 10. Enter a float number. Then I'll enter 20. See, you have entered integer value 10. You have entered integer value 20. Got it? But if it is not getting printed in new line, right? If you want that, what should you do? If you want to print it in the new line, I mean first line in the first
/n.
Yeah, \n. Where should I write it? After printing this or before the next line? So you can write \n here, or you can simply write another printing statement also like this. You can write in between these two, printf double quotes \n, like this also you can write. You are telling print this, print a new line, and then print this. See that? Once again I'll run quickly. So I am accepting an integer value called 10. Then I'll accept another float value called 10.5. See here. You have entered integer value 10. You have entered float value 10.500. Got it? That's it. Simple. Is this clear, everyone? Understood how to accept inputs, everyone? Integers and float values?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is basic about input output. Like that, you can accept other things also, character, float, group of inputs. Again, we'll discuss that later. But yeah, as of now, integer and float we have seen. Okay, now we know how to accept an integer and how to accept a float. Let us try to perform one small task. Okay, for example, you want to accept two integers and print the sum of them. Can we do that? Like, let us write the program. What I want to do is, I'll write it here. One second. So I can write using comments, right? Write a C program to find sum of given two numbers. See, we know how to accept input. We know how to print the output. Now we need to know how to calculate the sum. That's it, right? Now, just let me show you. For example, first I will declare a variable called int num1 for first thing. One more variable called num2. Two variables. You can declare two variables like this. Okay. Next, what is the next thing? You have to accept two inputs, right? I'll write printf double quotes enter two numbers. Enter two numbers. Okay. Now you have to accept them. For accepting inputs, scanf percentile d. Two inputs, right? You can write two percentile ds here itself. Comma. Where you want to store one in address of num1, comma, another one in address of num2. That's it. Okay. Now what is the next thing? You need to print the sum of them. How do you add two numbers in mathematically? Generally, how do you write addition? By using plus symbol, right? Addition means plus symbol. In C programming also it's the same. What do you want to print? You want to print the sum of two numbers. What is that? Which is nothing but num1 value plus num2 value. You can write num1 plus num2. But how do you print it? You have to store it somewhere, right? This is the calculation. You are calculating num1 plus num2. But where do you store it? How do you print it? Is what we need to see. For suppose you can directly print it. Like inside printf, you can write printf. You want to print an integer value, which is nothing but the sum of num1 comma num2. Got it? I am writing print an integer value, which is nothing but the sum of num1 plus num2. Like this you can write. Let me run it and show you once. So enter two numbers. I'll enter 10, 20. Okay. See, 30 got printed. Okay, you can write the sum of two numbers is the sum of given two numbers. Okay, I'm going a little bit slow because understanding everyone's concern. If you already know all these things, please try to bear for today. Tomorrow we'll go a little bit faster. Okay, I'm giving 10, 20. It is printing. The sum of given two numbers is 30. Got it? Perfect. This is how we print sum of two numbers. Okay, what if I don't want to print it in directly in the printing statement? You can calculate it separately. What I'll do is nothing but I'll try to create another variable called int sum is equals to num1 plus num2. So what does it mean? You are calculating num1 plus num2 and storing it in a variable called sum, and then you can print that variable here. Okay, you can print that variable here. See that the same output will come. I'll give 10, 20 as the inputs, 30 will be printed. Got it? Previously, we didn't store the result. Here, we are storing the result and printing it. That's the only difference. Clear? Got it, everyone? Is this simple, everyone? Able to understand, everyone? Say yes or no.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now see here. Did I only modified this part in the program, right? If you see whatever we have done, I have just written only this part, but this part is always fixed, right? Whatever the code hashing to distributed attach int main return 0 are always fixed. Why? Because those are the basic things which are required for running any program. Those are in the beginning I have discussed very clearly that this is the basic structure of a C program. This is nothing but the executable code. Whenever you are writing any program in future, you will only modify these things. You will not modify int main or hash include attach or return 0 or closing braces. These are mandatory. Okay. Krishna, without int can we write, sir? Here you are telling Krishna. Is this your doubt? Directly sum. Okay, no Krishna, we cannot write it because where you can store a value, if you want to store num1 plus num2, you need a variable, right? Now in C language, where can you store a variable? Where can you store a value in a variable? How do you declare a variable in C language? We must declare the data type of a variable. You have to declare something like int sum. Okay, you can write like this if needed. Okay, int sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Okay, without declaring sum, we cannot use it. In C language, if you want to use any variable anytime, you must declare that first and then use it. If it is in Python, you don't need to do that. You can directly write this. Okay, because Python doesn't worry about what data type it is. But in C language, before using the variable, you first should let the compiler know what data type it is. Then only you can use it. Got it? Understood that? So to make sure that sum is an integer, you are mentioning int sum, then using it. That's it, Krishna. I hope I answered your doubt. Okay, cool, super. So that's the basic thing. Okay, see, what is this? Okay, we have done addition of two numbers, right? What is this plus called as? What is that plus called as?
Addition.
Addition, any other name for that? Super, Krishna. Operator, right? That is called as operator. We are performing an operation between num1 and num2. That is nothing but addition. That plus symbol is called as an operator. So that is the next topic which we are going to discuss in C programming, which is nothing but operators. Okay, which is nothing but operators. Is that okay? Operators. There are many types of operators in C programming that we will see. Okay, let me just show you that. I'll just show you the types of operators and then all the operators we will discuss in the next class. Okay, I mean in the evening. One second, let me take you to that. I don't think I have it here. We have few more things which we need to discuss, or I'll cover it again. We have something like what is it? Keywords. There are few more things which basic information needed. I'll tell you that. don't think I have it here. I'll show you data type operators first. One second. In C language, I'll show you the types of operators which we have. We have 7 types of operators. Let me show you that. Yeah, these are the types. Okay, please make a note of this. Arithmetic operators, relational operators, assignment operators, logical operators,
Yes,
bitwise
sir.
operators, and increment, decrement, and special operators. Okay,
Yes, sir.
just make these 7 types. We will discuss each and
Yes,
everything
sir.
in the next class. Okay. Okay. So just please wait for 2 minutes. Right now we will close it here. In the next class, in the afternoon session, we will try to finish operator. In the evening session, we will try to finish operators, and we will try to start control statements. Okay. Fine. So just please wait for 1 minute. I will share this document with you all. I guess try to just click that link and let me know whether you are able to access that, access it or not. Just check whether you are able to access that link or not.